All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our community, and it's good to see you. So today, I want to get into a topic that I think needs to be addressed as we go forward. I've been telling you guys things are going to change, and for the better. What I will tell you is this: living in this space of true crime, talking about crimes kind of corners you into true crime. Now, that's not really what I'm here for, and I think you guys know that. I think you know that my goal is not to cover crime really the way that it's been covered before. Like I'm not like these networks who cover crime. I'm not like these other places that really are crime based, right? The reality is a lot of crime is about exploiting a story. It's about getting a very specific sensational angle. And for me, that's not the goal. The goal has always been the storytelling. And I say the word story because that's a very, very, very controversial word in a way, because when I was approached in the very beginning of the case by the news, one of the guys said, "This is an amazing story." And I was like, "This isn't a story. This is my real life." And I swear to you, that moment is a huge part of why we do this channel. With that being said, we're telling people's life stories. We're talking about real human beings on both sides. We're talking about the person who might have committed the crime, and we're talking about the person who's affected. And usually the people who are affected are a lot more than you think. It affects a lot more people than maybe we ever would know. The goal of why I'm making this video is that this channel now, as you know, has been about my personal healing. And you guys have been huge for that. You guys have been so supportive, and you got me through it. Right? Along with everything that I've been doing, you got me through what I was going through, and it was happening, and we were doing it together, and you created a community with me. So I tell you all of that for this main reason. Okay. And I wrote this stuff down. The thing is, you watch Dateline, you watch anybody. This is not, I hope this is not coming out and saying this is not defaming or whatever the word is for it. This is just the reality. They have a very specific way of how they tell you the story, and it's very informational, but it's very crime based. It's very factual, which will still be factual. What we're going to also add in is the understanding that we're coming in here as someone that we're talking about is affected by this. They need support and love. We have no idea where they're at, and sometimes when the media gets involved, their lives, as I know personally, change. So you're not only dealing with the heartbreak, you're not only dealing with what is going on in your life, you're dealing with the media. You're going through something that nobody else can deal with. And so I feel so strongly that it is important that we take this different angle. And I think that as a community, we've already done that. You guys don't want to just talk about one thing. You don't want to hear just about the sensationalism. You don't want to hear just about that. You understand that that causes an effect. What lives in that effect, right? That's where people are. They live in the effect of what happened. So I wanted it to be very, very clear that our channels has such a different angle. We are going to rehumanize people. We are going to try to psychologically break down some of the crimes, understanding where they're coming from. A lot of what I've seen too is really like when we made the what creates a villain, that's what we focus on in that side of it. What could have caused this? And then the number one thing is getting someone involved that is actually being affected by this and giving them a resource, right? Have a community. Let's bring someone in to this community and surround them with some love and show them that they're not alone. And that way they have somewhere to go. Right? They have somewhere to be where they're not being judged, where they're being surrounded and understanding, hey, you're going through a lot, but we're still going to hold you up. We're going to surround you. We're going to have fun too. We can laugh while you're having a hard time. I think some people have this weird, specific movie kind of idea of life. Like while you're going through hard times, you can't have any fun. You can't ever laugh. You can't, you just have to be sad. And that's just not reality. You're still alive, and you have that day-to-day. Where we're going to focus on with these people who are affected by these crimes is, what is the day-to-day like for you? How are you making it through? How are you coping? And really getting into that. One of my main things too is if I can, to the best of my ability, is getting as much permission as possible to speak about their families. I feel really, really deeply about that. If I can reach out in some way and say, hey, I'm really interested in talking about this case, but I want to show you that I care. And I'd rather ask and see if you're okay with me covering it on this channel. Now, with some of our older stuff, I can't really do that because there's so much, right? But if I'm in that position, I'm going to do that. Reach out to those people and make sure that they understand. Okay. Now, our goals are to psychologically understand the best that we can what is going on in this situation, cause and effect. If there is any major players, as in religion, if there's what we want to do is we're going to spend some time trying to see if we can figure out motive and an understanding. So we're going to go back and forth as a community. I want us to be engaged. We might even do a lot of the research together because I think it might be better for us to learn and grow at the same time. I mean, I can always go and do research ahead of time and just provide you guys with stuff. But the reality is it'd be fun to be able to do that as well because we're going to learn and grow as we cover these things. I have 2 cases right now that really have my mind there and a piece of my heart to want to talk about it. So those are the 2 that I'm going to be cycling through, and I'm probably going to cover them kind of around the same time. There's a lot of people who have been affected by things that haven't really come out yet. Like there's people who have had their cases kind of pushed over, and there's some of that like in Arizona. So there's things like that that matter to me as well. And I tell you all that because I want to educate people from what this is like in an emotional way, but also, again, let's bring back the humanity. Let's bring back the humanity. We're not going to throw people under the bus so we can talk about their stories. We're not going to throw people in an interview so we can bring something out of them that they don't want to talk about. So that's what we're doing in this way. We're trying to reshape the way that covering crimes media works. And that's the whole point, is we need to rehumanize these people. And we need to stop trying to grab a headline and start trying to grab emotional support for people and have those conversations and see where they're at. You guys know we've been there. Oh, I keep saying hi, Ray. Oh, there's the wrench. There's the wrench himself. Yeah, you might not recognize me without a hat on. I got my hair cut a while ago. I just haven't done it in a while. There's absolutely a way to do this with respect and dignity for the people who are suffering. And I love this idea. Thank you. And I wanted to share it with you before we start into our cases. This is what it's all about. It's about giving those people some respect. And, I'm at the point where I am willing to go meet people in their state and be with them and make sure that I make it easy for them. And I want them to talk if they want to. I'm not going to be the type of person that goes and forces people to talk in their pain. Like I'm too sensitive for that. If I see someone is having a really hard time, the last thing I'm going to try to do is be like, hey, let's jump on camera and make you cry. That's horrible. And there's a way that you can make sure that they feel loved and respected. And some people are strong and want to talk right then and there. Some people need time, and some people never want to talk about it after it happens. So we're going to meet people exactly where they are. And that's always how it's going to be. That's always been the goal. But right now that we're coming into these new cases, I really want to put that on display for all of us to remember these are people's lives. People are living through this, and these stories are supposed to help inspire us, and we can pull amazing things from it. And then also what we can give back. The thing you can give back is your support. That's what you can give back. And you guys already do that so well. This guy's good. He's ripped. He's big. He's going to Crime Con. He's doing good. That's my guy. So, like I said, I'll give you full disclosure about this. The last thing I want to do is be disrespectful to these people, because when I was listening to some of these cases stuff, it feels like such a disrespect because someone's coming in and just talking about everything in your family and trying to make up this like theory, like it's like theory central, and then you get this whole like everybody theorizing this and that and their ideas. There's nothing wrong with that, but when it's your family, it's not the same. And again, that's what I'm trying not to do here. Is we're not going to create that that space where we're trying to say all these things and try to do too much of the too much of that part where we sensationalize it. And now we're trying to blame victims. Like I've seen it in this case for me. And I really think that's the worst thing you can do is victim blame people and try to make up so many different facts and start this whole thing. It's like, dude, no, we're not here for drama. We're here to help people. And these stories should have, they have a place, obviously. People are watching. So let's change how this is covered and let's talk about different angle and way. And that was the number one thing. That's what I want to do. I want to share hope and give people, if people are in the brokenness, you meet them with in their brokenness and you just love them through it and you help them and you continue to build them up. And that's what the point is like being able to have a real connection with someone. Like I'm not going to go interview someone and then just be like, peace out, see ya, check on them in the background. But I also love the idea of bringing them here because I really do trust you guys. And that trust has become a place where I want to recommend people to come here and have a community and not feel alone. That's why we do our lives too. I love our lives more than anything, is having real connection with you guys. So that's what I wanted it to do. And, I've had personally already had some emails and stuff from people who want to share their story. And that's where I'm coming into next to, is helping people tell their stories the best that I can. So thank you, Christine. I never thought I'd be here, but this is what it is. And this is where my heart is. And when I saw the corruption in this industry of true crime, and again, this is not, I'm not saying anything about anybody. Okay. I am just being specific to a genre, and there's nothing wrong with liking what you like. I'm not judging you. What I am telling you is my perspective of true crime from what I've seen sometimes is dehumanizing. And I get that because that's it's easier to shut it off and dehumanize so you can tell the graphicness of some of these cases. I get that. But you have to remember, you're talking about someone's sister, someone's brother, someone's son, someone's daughter. You go through the list. You're talking about somebody that somebody really loves. They're a human being. And we have a tendency to shut our emotions off and be able to handle the gore and that stuff because we have shut it off as, oh, this is real life. And I think it's just normal. It's normal to a part of your brain to say, hey, this is really bad. So I am going to, part of me is turned off to the fact that this is reality. And bringing back the reality for the person will validate them again, because we're invalidating people by saying, all these things and just making these people who are victims to this situation feel like, I guess, worse. And that's horrible. So I have huge vision for this. And I think that all of the bad things that I've experienced in media have prepared me to know what I would want to do differently. So it's almost like all the things that I know I hated and didn't like are now available as lessons for me to say, I'm going to do this the opposite. And, a big part of my heart is to talk to, because I don't know if Ray's still here, but talking to someone in law enforcement, talking to someone who has been affected by, their service in the military, doctors, surgeons, therapists. Those people are also people that we can learn so much from, that have so much to give. And that's the point. We're creating something huge. We're creating something that brings all these people together, and we're just really understanding us as humans and understanding our flaws and where we can improve each other. And that's what it should be. It should be like an idea. I want to be better, right? I can be better. It's possible. It just takes time and understanding. So if you learn something and understand it, now you are able to live that. But if you don't see it, then you can't be that. So you have to see it to be it. And I think that bringing in other people who are amazing examples and have lived through these things and had these experiences are going to bring us all lessons. And that's the whole point, is to share and learn and grow. And I'm really excited because this is what I personally wish I would have had, is somewhere to go where I felt, hey, if I interview this person, they're not going to screw me. That's never, that's always a question in your head. Am I going to get screwed over? Are they going to clip everything I said? Am I going to be, Lori Vallow's son? Like, am I going to be treated as if I am a product of a network that wants to make money off of me? Or am I going to be treated like the person that I am in the position that I am in? And you know what? That's the best part for me. I don't need to grab a headline. I'm not here to grab millions of eyes. It's for people who want to be here. You have to be like-minded to be here. You might not like this, and that's okay. Everybody has their own taste and their own preferences, and that's okay. That's why there's a million channels on YouTube that do different things, and you have an ability to go and watch what you want, and you have an ability to click off of the videos and go and enjoy what you like, and there's no judgment. The point is, though, this is what we're doing for people who are like-minded, who want this kind of thing, who are sick of the big media, who are sick of the narrative. Yeah, exactly. Who are sick of the same old thing, man. The sick of big media running everything, and you learn only what big media tells you. You only get the details from what they've told you. How about the people who are involved? They probably have more of an understanding, more of a perspective, right? So that's what it's for. If people don't want to watch, that's okay. We're not here to try to get a million eyes. We've created a community. And if you don't like the community, that's okay. So I say that because true crime, I understand, is very, very controversial. You're talking about very hard stuff. You're talking about really personal stuff. Hence why we have to approach it from a different way. And that's okay. We're not trying to make the world watch. I hope people that are like-minded or interested will come and learn. And if they want to be a part of the community, they're open to, Yeah. The families deserve it, man. The legacy of people who are taken a lot of times are completely just destroyed in big media. They get out there and they're just the product of the person, right? If you zoom out, Lori is the focus over everything. Tylee, JJ, Charles, Tammy, all of those things are the byproducts. And it's unfortunate because I'm looking and going, how in the world does this entire story only really want to know how she did this to them, and they are just left as the product of the bad thing that happened? They're the bad thing, but she's the main focus. It's what it is. Exactly. That's why I say that, man. It's not this is what's fun. Here's what's frustrating for me. It's like, I'm not here to debate with people if they like it or don't like it. It's the point to say, you and I can disagree, and that's okay. We don't have to agree about anything, but we can still be respectful and we can still have similar interests. But like I said, I'm not here to try to debate with people on crap. Like, believe what you want and form your own opinion. That's the point. And that's the thing I really care about too, is one thing you notice is if people do TikTok or information, you have a responsibility as someone who gives information to try to be as unbiased and honest as possible. The problem with that being is that you get a TikTok, they say something, and a lot of times people assume the TikToker told you everything and told you all this research and this truth. Their thing is like, you've got to see that they might not have all the information. And sometimes you got to do your own research. And that's always going to be a point that you'll probably hear me say, is do your own research. Look more into it. Like, I'm going to tell you the reasons why I found this, the sources, the things that I know, but you can do your own research because I could be wrong in some senses. And if I'm wrong, I'll come on here and tell you, hey, I missed this, I didn't see this, or this was fake news. And I'll tell you if it was. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man, I'm trying. I'm trying to get going. Feel a little bit more normal. So you do. That's the whole thing. Yeah, you know, Sheila, this is what shaped into is like going to this point. I think that I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything in this, and I feel that it's going to be important for me to get in there and really learn what I can. So we'll see where it really shapes into. But right now, I told you what we're going to be doing, and we'll see where it's going to go. Oh, it's right here, big dog. It's right here. I got to start wearing it, man. I always forget to put it on. I just wear this no matter what, all day, every day. I got all the chains. I got all the channel chains. We'll switch them out. But you know, I'll give you an honest point, right? You guys ever seen Joe Rogan? I'm sure you have. That guy will talk about aliens. He'll talk about freaking anything, underwater societies, mushrooms. But here's the deal. Joe Rogan goes out and gets somebody, and they have this crazy conversation. Oh, what's up, Larry? Shout out to Larry. It's good to see you. Joe Rogan will talk about absolutely anything, right? And he has one of the biggest podcasts. And I tell you this for one main reason. When Joe Rogan gets the person that people are talking about sitting across from him, they have an opportunity on an open platform to say what they need to say. And that is exactly what I think people are craving. You're sick of hearing it third person. You're sick of all this stuff. Is exactly, Tess. What a beautiful thing to say. I'm not going to be silenced by other media. I'm going to be able to sit down, go have a conversation with somebody, and be able to say what I want to say. And I guess what I listened to, I made it through. Okay, you're going to be proud of me. I made it through 15 minutes of Kanye West's. This was 4 years ago when Kanye was going Christian. I'm not going to say anything else about that, but I couldn't get through Kanye's. It was just it was something else. It was hard to stick with him on a point. I couldn't really follow him. But I love Kanye as an artist. I grew up on Kanye, so I'm not trying to diss this dude, but I just couldn't make it through that. What it is though is that he let him talk, you know, and you know everybody has heard about Kanye West and he's in the news and this is, but he gave him a platform to sit there with a microphone and say what he wanted to say. That has always been my heart though, like real conversations. You know, like in high school, me and my best friend. Yes, also Sean Ryan's a huge example. I love Sean Ryan. I fully support Sean Ryan. I watch Sean Ryan. That dude is an incredible point. He actually inspired me. He inspired me. I'll give you that 100% because Sean Ryan talks about trauma and Sean Ryan, you know, talks to the vets, and he's the one I've listened to all the Navy SEALs on and all that stuff. What you do though is you empower someone, because when you go on the newsroom, I'll give you an example. And again, I'm not trying to hate on the news that I just went on, but you go in there, you have this conversation. For their headline, they're going to clip you, but then they posted the full interview. Now, I thought that was cool that they posted the full interview after. What I am saying is you need to let people tell you their side. You need a little bit more of the reality and a little less headline. The problem is if you hear something from me, possibly, and I have an ill intent and I tell you the wrong thing, it's going to go like this and it's going to go down the rabbit hole and you guys are going to keep passing it on. It's telephone until it gets to this one person and they think something so different than what the original point was anyway that was already a lie. That's the point. That's how this works. It's a chain, and it's a chain reaction to how people react to stories and media and crime and all of this stuff. So it's really at a point now, it's like, let people talk, give their perspective. And even if you don't agree with it or you think they're lying, at least they got it out, right? You don't have to agree. But at the same time, at least they got to say their point. That's what gives you the opportunity to think rather than just hear something and take it for what it is always, especially when it comes to this type of stuff, man. Thank you, DK. Thank you for the chat too. Exactly. Oh, how much context is left out? The editing, the editing and the clipping and the freaking, the headlines, the misleading headlines, and the headline of like estranged son, Colby Ryan, blah blah blah, and it's like it grabs people, and I get that. That's how it works. You grab people to come in, but what you don't do is grab them to come in and not deliver on exactly what you said. That's already dishonesty. If you grab people and don't deliver on what you said you were going to deliver on, that's even worse. But the grabbing is not necessary, in my opinion. It's not necessary. Michelle said, I genuinely thought I was supposed to be sad and depressed during recovery. And when my daughter gave me permission to be happy and look forward instead of backward, my entire life changed. I love that, Michelle. That's the point. Don't get molded into how you're supposed to feel. That's BS. You're supposed to feel this. You need to be sad or not sad. You need to move on. You need to buck up. You need to lay down and cry. Like, there's no right way to do trauma. There's no right way to do that. So don't let people tell you how you should be or how you should handle something, unless it's obviously you're handling it in a way that's horrible and hurtful to people. That's not something that we want to do. But going into this, I just wanted you guys to understand the openness and our hearts going towards these people. And I want people to know that up front. I don't want there to be a misconception. And I also want to give people the opportunity. If you don't want that and don't like that, then that's okay. This is your opportunity to understand where we're going with it. And you don't have to be here if you don't want to, but you are invited to be here. We don't want people to feel like they have to leave. We want a community of good people, but it's your opportunity to say, hey, this doesn't interest me, and that's fine. We want people though to know this is going to be trying to go and dig into the human side and the psychology of us all and learn. I love it, Kelly. I love it. We've created a beautiful thing here, and I'm excited to continue that. I'm excited for the people we're going to be talking to soon. And, sometimes go get it done. Go get it done, Larry. What a beast. He's going out to the farm. Exactly. I know, dude. I can't ever escape that. That's one thing. I had a guy stop me. I was on my way in the gas station in middle of nowhere, and I stopped. I had my Chiefs shirt on, and he's looking at me wild, and I go and get my drink, and he legitimately is like, "Are you Travis Kelce?" And at that point, I had a buzz cut, and I had the beard, and he goes, "Are you Travis Kelce?" And I'm like, "No, bro, I'm not Travis Kelce. Travis is about 2 inches taller than me and probably about 30 pounds heavier than me. And it is what it is." I like to listen to your inspirational words. Thank you, Colby, for just being you. Don't ever change. Thank you, Denise. That's a good question, Anna. Did I ever forgive Lori? We've talked about this on the channel, but it's forgiveness is definitely sometimes a process. So I started that process years ago. I actually made a video a long time ago about it, but forgiving her is the choice of saying, I know that you're never going to repent or say you're sorry or ever change, but I am going to let it go, and I'm going to allow myself to let it go for the poison. So yes, I have been in a process of forgiving her for a long time. But do I get re-angry and re-mad at her, and sometimes she opens up that wound? Yeah, without a doubt. You guys already saw what happened. I cussed a lot. I was frustrated. It was all raw. And so that it does happen. But I know I went into the lion's den, so that was on me. But yeah, I mean, I have to choose to forgive for me. That's the biggest point. And I have a lot more of these videos, Celeste. Um, like I told you, I actually want to put together a project for them, and there's a lot going to be happening next month that I haven't really talked about yet. So we'll get into that at another time. But oh, Kels, I don't know if she's gonna like that. She does like her some old Swifty music. You continue to inspire us all, regardless of our age differences. Thank you. Of course. You guys inspire me too, man. You guys are amazing. And that's exactly what it is. Like, we all learn from each other. We all learn, we all grow from each other, and there's nothing that we can't teach each other. It doesn't matter what age we are. There's always life lessons that you can give, and we're making our lives better. We're making our lives better. And so, with that being said, we are going to start our new schedule. So, we're going to be going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is going to be our live schedule. Now, in between, you guys might be getting videos in between that time. Just know that some of our coverage is going to be videos and some of our coverage is going to be lives. For sure, you can count on the Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. That doesn't mean we can't do more or that we won't do more lives or shorter lives if there's news or updates or anything that we are covering. But I want you guys to know that. So I'll be posting that. That way you guys know every Monday, Wednesday, Friday we have each other. But it doesn't mean that that's the only time we're going to be doing our videos. So yeah, we got a schedule, and I'm excited because I wanted you guys to know. So the goal right now for times is the thing we're working on the most, because we have so much in the morning, and there's literally been so many doctor's appointments for me, and now I have to change what we're doing, unfortunately, so I can go to all these different specialists and try to make sure that everything's okay with my health. So that's what I'm trying to work on. I will announce the schedule and the time on the community tab, and then I will remind you in the videos and in the chat, because I want you guys to be able to know when it's going to be. But that way you guys know for a fact that we are going to have that in a time. So that's just always going to be our thing. But trust me, we'll probably end up doing Saturday stuff. We'll probably end up doing, like, I could see us possibly doing more. But you guys, I needed you to have a schedule. So that way there's no more asking what's going to happen. If anything needs to get moved, that will be on the community tab as well. So if we have to move a time and or a live, we'll just do it the next day. We'll do that. But without a doubt, we're going to go Monday, Wednesday. Absolutely, man. You know, I told you guys I was really thinking about doing Chad's. I've left that door open for the fact that if I ever do feel the need to go back there, I will do it for healing. And I don't know if that is going to be healing right now. That would just, I actually feel like I'm moving past it. So there's no reason to go backwards. And then there's a lot of stuff coming up next month that we're going to be doing. So, but I'm excited to see you guys. Leave bedtime 3 times a week. Well, I'll try to do them in the mornings. What I've tried to do is it's hard because most of the doctor's appointments are in the mornings. So that's what's been getting in our way. So I'll let you know. I have a few weeks of booked out, and then hopefully past that point, it will always be the same times and easily. But we will be exactly. We don't need to go back there right now. And I'm glad. And people were asking about you, Ray. It's the same. I think we're on the same page. You don't need to keep going back to that place. The times that I think you go back to that place is when there's something you need to get past. With Chad, I lived the end of that, but I've never heard all the other things. But a lot of what happens in Chad's, I'm assuming, is what happened in Lori's. A lot of repeat, maybe some new stuff. But once I heard Ray's testimony and a lot of those other testimonies, the context got put through. I understood the involvement. I understood what happened to my brother and my sister. I understood what happened. I went through Charles's and Brandon's in person. And so, you know, there's a lot of closure for me. Stuff I never knew. I closed the book, which I put my oxygen mask on first before I was ready and willing to go to other cases. And that's what I wanted you guys to know. I didn't feel qualified in any way, shape, or form to try to talk about someone else's case when I'm literally going like this and the case is right here. And I won't look at what happened in my family. So I looked at what happened. I got the closure that I needed as of right now. I think that I feel way better about this whole thing. And moving on to other cases, I do with a lot of caution and respect and love, because I'm not going to try to come in and talk about other people's families and talk about them in a disrespectful way. So, amen, brother. The chapter is closed. The healing can start. The support of everyone. You're doing amazing things. Thank you, brother. We all did it together, man. We got through it. We got through it, and it's a good thing. So, we are going to be going Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as you guys know. We'll probably be covering 2 different cases right now at the same time, in a sense. So like, we're going to focus on one, and then you might get a video of it, and then we'll do some live feedback back and forth. We're probably going to have a lot of conversations, and then we're probably going to have some detective nights. So you can ask Ray all about that, because I don't know anything about it. But on the detective nights, we're going to try to do some deep dives together, and sometimes I'll present the deep dive myself. So we're gonna enjoy it, but we're gonna learn, we're gonna grow, and we're gonna make sure we're respectful, and then we're gonna try our best to make sure that we can bring people into the community that want to be here, that need that love and that support, and hopefully be able to do that. That's what the Scar Wars podcast was created for, is to have those conversations. So I'm excited. But I will keep you guys up to date on the community tab. I love you. You guys know that this has been a really long process, and we're still going. We're still trying our best to do what we can with all that's happened. All the health stuff is hard and sometimes getting in the way, but I appreciate you guys being patient there, and just being willing to pivot and move around with me. So thank you for that. Love you guys. See you soon, and have a great rest of your day.